Welcome back, Mr. Goodberry. The First Star Logistics studio is fully equipped and ready to record.
Welcome back to Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Joe Goodberry, and today we have actual Bengals football to discuss and talk about and review. This is going to be our first film review edition of 2024, and I can't tell you, I've been waiting to do this. So, I knew the day's coming, right? And, we do the off-season stuff. We do this guy can make the team, and then what do we want to see? Those are fine. But this means this episode is what Bengals on the Brain is all about and what my favorite part of doing this is, and that's reviewing the film, talking about players and young guys that we're seeing for the first time, talking about the return of Joe Burrow and this first team offense actually playing in preseason. And so I cut up the film already. We've got it laid out, and I can't wait to dive in. So I'm not going to waste your time any further. We're going to start with first segment of today's episode is how did that first team offense do? Quarterbacked by Joe Burrow. First time seeing him again since he hurt his wrist midway through last season, and it was good and it was successful. Let's dive in. Okay, this is the opening drive, and the first thing we're going to notice here is that we got motion, right? And that's, typical, but at the same time, we're going to see a lot of motion. First one is Mike Gesicki was lined up out wide. Then he's going to come into a normal tight end position. And I'm going to mention motion a lot. If you don't remember, if you weren't here in previous years, seeing offenses use motion and we use motion at the snap were two things we wanted to see the Bengals incorporate. The best offenses use it, and the Bengals weren't doing it a ton. So when he motions in, all you saw was the cornerback kind of drop back into here. And to make it look like it's a cover 3 situation, coverage really doesn't matter. We'll get into that stuff when it applies. But what it does show you that this is zone coverage. And because it's zone coverage now, our eyes are going to turn to T. Higgins, and this is an RPO, which is a run pass option. But for T, what this tells him is that as soon as he gets here, he checks inside. You can see him look inside, and he knows we got one guy dropping into a zone here. We've got one guy dropping into a zone here, which means for Higgins, I've got a window between them, and I need to just sit in between that window if Burrow is going to throw me this ball. And he does just that. Right between the two, catches it, gets what he can after, which is actually a lot, and gets us to a second and short situation. Now, RPO, run pass option. This is different than a read option. Similar to read option, but not to where it's like automatically either I'm giving it to the running back or I'm keeping it myself as the quarterback. This is more is, am I going to hand the ball off or am I going to throw? Typically it's a slant, but it can be other options. But you'll see a slant typically coming from the backside, which is what we got with Higgins there. And what you're reading is after the snap. It's a post-snap read, and I believe here he is reading number 51, this linebacker. If this linebacker attacks and goes with the run and vacates this area, you pull the ball back and you throw into this area where T. Higgins is running his slant, but he's going to be sitting it down here. If the guy doesn't, especially if we've got multiple guys in the box here potentially to defend this run, but if this guy doesn't and instead turns and drives directly into coverage, well, that would only leave them 1, 2, 3, 4 guys on this side and you'd have 4 blockers. You're going to hand this off, and it's going to be an easy, decent gain, at least 5 yards until that safety makes contact with you. So again, we are reading this linebacker here in real time, seeing how it goes, and then flipping it out behind him if he attacks the run. So watch Joe Burrow. Right there, he can see one step in. It just took one little step. You can even just, if you freeze them, that's enough. One step in, and now we've got a window here, right? This is where T. Higgins is going to sit. Burrow's not even going to have time to really reset his feet. Maybe just get away, gain some depth away from that running back and sidearm it out there. So let's watch him do that. And there it is. I'll give you one full look, full speed of it to see how fast he actually has to read that linebacker. Watch 51 and do it at the same time. Snap. Okay, hesitation, one step in, flip. Very quickly. And it's an easy, almost automatic gain. So moving on to the second play here, where again, we are in a shotgun situation. We got two tight ends out there. Gesicki in motion. Gesicki's moving in motion. And the key thing is here is we're going to snap it while he's in motion. And what we saw was this linebacker over here, this Bucs linebacker screams over. This guy's chasing this guy, and this guy's chasing Chase Brown. So does that make sense? We got all these guys covering like that. Looks like man coverage on this side with a safety over the top playing deep zone. So Burrow's going to read this very quickly, and he's going to dump it down to Chase Brown. Now, I think there's a point here where we could see an adjustment in this Bengals offense, because imagine if Gesicki would have kept running this. And if he would have kept running this, would this linebacker have kept running with him, leaving Chase Brown on the swing route with just this linebacker coming all the way across the formation to cover a guy who runs a 4-3? I'd like to see that. But instead, we're hooking up Mike Gesicki, right? Instead, he's coming here. It looks like everyone's hooking up in the middle somewhere. I mean, everyone's pretty much open here, but everyone's really hooking up at a certain depth to get you the first down here. But I see this as an opportunity to, if we run Gesicki out of here in a man coverage situation, we can get Chase Brown on a big play. Instead, we don't. So Chase Brown gets this instead. Two guys are peeling off, right? And we end up with just short, gaining maybe a foot of yardage on the second play of the drive. Not ideal. So I like the motion at the snap. Quick decision by Burrow, because again, if we want to go on, how quickly does Burrow have to process? Which is good to see him processing this fast in preseason. You'll see it real quick. He goes, okay, a single high safety. That guy goes in motion, probably man. And then bang, oh, we got more man coverage. This linebacker's coming across. Watch him turn his hips. Bang, throw. So like that happens super fast. He doesn't know the other linebacker's going to peel off and tackle Chase Brown. So that's just unfortunate on that end. And we're going to get a third down run here. First thing I want to point out is Cordell Volson, who I thought had a good opening drive. And we don't get too many days to praise Cordell Volson. So you'll see a combo block from he and Orlando Brown Jr. And then Volson's going to climb up, take this linebacker, I want to say, and he's going to drive him all the way to about this point. So just keep your eyes on Volson when I hit the play button again here. So here we go. Try and watch Volson, double team, get to that linebacker now, drive. That is good to see. That is a very good run block. But one thing to note on this play, and they pick up the first down. So we're not going to be too critical here, but watch T. Higgins. And T. Higgins is supposed to go up and try and get a piece of this safety if he can. He's a little late off the snap, doesn't really drive and get there, but watch T. Higgins' reaction afterwards. Keep your eyes on 5. He's going to turn and point. That's me. That's my fault. Point to his head. Yep, I know. Right? Because he's like, I know what I did wrong there. And you'll see what happens here when you don't climb up and at least push the safety, get him out of there. You're going to watch how it messes up these two. And real quick, you're going to see, let me clear that. You're going to see Orlando Brown Jr. go, oh no, no one got 26. He's running free. So as the combo block happens right here, 26 is going to fill this gap. And watch Orlando Brown is going to go, oh, I need to go get him. And so now we ended up with too many responsibilities for the two guys we have. Instead of getting to the linebackers, Brown's coming off. And if you watch it from this angle, Volson and Brown are actually going to leave Hall right here, free after they hit him. Watch how they hit him, and then they're going to leave him free as they both go to get the other secondary guy and peel off and get him. Now the play still, so if the read for Chase Brown, he's going to see there's nothing at 1, at 2, and he's going to just hit 3 and try and get the first down, which he does. Watch Kappa here if you can. Kappa had a bit of a struggle. I've seen him lose a few reps in camp, but also in this first drive as well. Let's watch him go against 92 here. Just getting off balance. He and Mims were not combo blocking as clean as you would like. So it looks like Mims actually gets a piece of Kappa. So watch it. And almost throws Kappa off balance. So they need to work better in sync. And this is Mims' first game. So things like this will happen. Next play, we get a nice run out of Chase Brown here. Motion again. We got combo blocking happening right here. And then this linebacker is going to dive inside on this run. So instantly Chase Brown's going to see that and go against the grain. as Yoshi's going to come up here and take the safety. So Chase Brown, quick reaction, bang, get away from that. And good job by Volson peeling off and getting that linebacker while Orlando Brown Jr. takes care of the defensive tackle. You would have liked a better block from Sample. Sustain a little bit more. Sample on the left side here, number 89, where the mouse is going, the arrow is. Sustain a little bit more, but we'll take our 5-6 yards every time on a run. No one will complain about that at all. Watch it from this angle. Watch Volson and Brown again. Combo, get the linebacker, take care of the D tackle. I mean, that's as good as it's supposed to look. I thought Orlando Brown had a good opening day. We're in empty now, second down. Chase Brown's out to the right like a tight end. And we've got to throw over the middle to Trenton Irwin, a high ball, maybe most inaccurate ball out of Joe Burrow on the day, maybe, because that I thought the pass interference that's going to come later was one that I think he just kind of put up there. But it's worth noting here. We've got 2 receivers here and a receiver here. So 3 total. This is Gesicki in the slot. And this is at the tight end spot. It's Chase Brown. So mixing it up a little bit and what you can do with different players. And the Bucs are going to rush 4 and drop, looks like into like a quarters coverage, I would say. 1 here, 1 here, 1 here, and 1 there. Leaving the middle of the field very vacated as their linebackers go out wide. Leaves for an easy hookup, and that's very hard to see against that new bright orange B on the Paycor field. Leaves a very easy hookup for Trenton Irwin over the middle. And it's a very nice hands catch for the veteran receiver. Why he continues to play and continues to be listed as the 3rd wide receiver on the depth chart. Oh, yeah. Not an easy one. One more look from this angle. If you want to watch Joe Burrow throw, give a first stick throw of the game where he's got to push it and get it in there. Tight spiral. Good hands catch. All right, next play. We got a first down again. And we've got a run in the middle. We're going to move Chase Brown at the start of the snap. If you allow me to go back real quick. Chase Brown's on this side. Flip him over to the left. And why you do that is because they're going to run the ball here. And that's a Y insert. Y being the tight end. He's going to come up, make the block. That's Drew Sample leading the way. Let's keep an eye on that. You end up with really good blocking on the backside. Again, Volson and Brown looking really good. They had a hot day, hot start to this game. And we're going to watch these guys on the front side. So these backside guys take care of who they have to on the backside. And maybe we'll highlight them if we get a chance. But the front side guys, these 3 are going to take care of theirs. And we're going to insert Sample in here to finish off the last guy. Because we have how many Bucs? Count them up for me. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're trying to get our 4th blocker with him, which is Sample to even the numbers and allow Chase Brown free access to run and make his cuts as he wants. So let's let it play now and see. And I'll show you from the backside angle something I've noticed. Good blocking all throughout. Kapla, Karras, I thought they all did well. The offensive line did well. It's one of their better blocking offensive line performances here, this individual play. But Sample, watch Sample for me. I think, is it not Sample? That looks like 89. It's got to be Sample. He's got the thing on his arm. As Sample approaches this linebacker and he's got to make this block, watch how he hesitates and doesn't get the depth I think he should get. Let me go back, actually. I don't want to skip a frame on that one. So keep an eye on Drew Sample here. Watch how he hesitates as he approach and makes contact with 52. You see that little hesitation there? And that's to ensure he locks and makes contact with his guy. I get it. But a cleaner block to this, and maybe the contact is made here, maybe here, would have been better off of, if you can set a wall here, well, guess what? Chase Brown gets to go bang and cut. Maybe not so aggressively, but he gets to cut back against the grain. Instead, Sample's kind of slow getting there, and Chase Brown has to duck his head and his shoulder and get between 2 guys and picks up again 6 yards. We'll take 6, but you're real close to breaking off some long runs right there. Now we're going to get a big play, uncorking a pass from Joe Burrow, and he lays it on the money. I'll tell you what. Let's watch T. Higgins in his route here. It looks like he's going to go up, out just a little bit, and then bend it all the way back in. I would say this is an out and up from a tight split, but he doesn't really completely go out and he doesn't really completely run a fly afterwards. It's almost like a post after. So I don't know what to call it. We're getting a play action, shotgun, and then a boot option. So you're clear away from the pocket. That's nice, right? To have Burrow this clean and ability to throw. You've got double coverage on T. Higgins. And again, this is when Higgins is going out, and then he's going to peel it back towards the end zone and towards the post. And Burrow is just going to lay it out there and take a shot. Why not? Because that's T. Higgins, and sometimes he comes down with these. We've seen it before. It's a really good play by the DB. Gets his arm in there, rips it out. But Burrow throws this and lands at about 53 yards. So if you're wondering about arm strength and things like that, he has options underneath if he wants the easy check down here to Drew Sample. If he doesn't want the sample and he wants to take a shot for it, feel free, Joe. It landed right in Higgins' neck. He could have caught it with his face mask, perhaps. Good job by the DB. Let it play fully here, full speed, without me touching it up too much. And let's watch him throw. Landed it. Now, Burrow did say in the post-game interview that he had one other place he could have placed that ball. He placed it pretty much where he wanted, but maybe he could have placed it one other spot. So he's going to try and place it between the two safeties here. But I also wonder if he thought he could have maybe placed it more inside and made the DB either spin and face the ball, made the safety spin and face the ball, or force the safety to play through T. Higgins and maybe draw a flag. But I'm cool with the placement he had because it landed right in there. I think T, that's like a true 50-50 when you got two defenders on him. But I think I'd take that chance anytime, especially you get in that 40-plus range going in. That's a spot to make a play. Now, third down. And this is our first chance to really get a chance to look at Yoshi out of the slot. And he's just going to run an in-breaking route, a skinny, not even, I wouldn't call it a skinny post. I would say this is just more of an in, and he kind of angles it based on the windows, which we'll see in a second. But we're in empty. Okay, so while we're only out there with three wide receivers, where is everyone else lined up? Well, you're looking at Chase Brown in the slot here. You're looking at Mike Gesicki standing up just off the line of scrimmage. You could say that's the slot as well to the left. So again, we're using Chase Brown, and then why we saw Chase Brown running routes in that first day of camp, we're going to use both of these guys to mix up the defense just a little bit. And looks like we just have a single high safety man coverage across. They're dropping 8 and only rushing 3 for the Bucs, meaning there's a bunch of double coverage situations here. One of them being Chase Brown in the slot gets the attention of 2 Buccaneers defenders, and Yoshi breaks off nicely to the middle, gets some yards after the catch. Big gain, Bengals inside the 20. They're in the red zone really quickly here without much resistance. Now, the thing to watch for Burrow and the decision making on this play, because I think instantly he goes, I want to go hit this middle here if I can, if I've got man coverage. When they drop this guy, when the Bucs drop this D end, the first window on any like in route or slant is going to be right here. But obviously, you can't throw that. That's why we drop these defenders into these windows, right? To try and mix that up and force Burrow to hold the ball. That's why you drop 8 and rush 3. It's meant to make the quarterback hold it and force him to hold it. So the next window is over the middle then. So if you're going to take away this first window, let me hit the next one. And if I can lead my receiver and hit it and put it in front of him so he can run after the catch, that's exactly what we'll do. So that's Burrow. You saw just slight foot adjustment and then bang, got it on him. Maybe a little bit better ball placement there. Burrow's typically in the A+ range for ball placement, but we will take that. And if you heard my knee crack, that does happen. I'm not going to edit that out. We're just going to keep it rolling. Bang. And he takes out Trenton Irwin with him. So Yoshi getting involved. T. Higgins getting involved. Chase Brown. We're seeing a lot of motion out of Mike Gesicki. And the next play here is another run. No, this is the screen. That's right. Okay. So I had the tight angle because nothing happened here. I kept the tight angle for the run plays. But again, we're under center. Play action. He wants to get the screen. There's nothing there. And I think that it was just the slot blitz that we weren't expecting. Just blew it up. You're like, I don't have a chance to hold this one. You see Sample rolling backwards to try and make some contact there. He's too late. Not that he would normally make a block on that guy. I just think they didn't see it coming. So moving on, second down. Shotgun again. Potential blitzers coming again. Oh, I know why I wanted to put that in there. So I posted this on Twitter also. First thing you notice when they come line up, what looks weird? I'm going to see if you haven't seen it on Twitter. What looks weird from the Bengals adjustment? If you're a defense out there, you're in quarterback, middle linebacker, safety, what looks different from this formation? You watch a lot of film, you see this team, someone looks weird lined up. I give you 3, 2, 1. Cordell Volson, look how far back he is, right? So the rule is you have to be at the belt line. Let me get a better color here. Maybe at the belt line of the center. You would say Kappa is, I would say just the tip. Man, maybe that's a bad line. Let me get a good straight line on this and go from here to here. Okay. So you can see the 4 linemen are there, and Volson is just behind, just that little bit of 6 to 10 inches behind. Karras told me something like when I'm watching this. Now I watched it live, but when I got to this point, I paused it and said, he's going to pull. That's why he's so far off. When you watch him, keep an eye on Volson right here. He is going to pull and be one of the lead blockers for Chase Brown. And that's why he was trying to cheat and give himself a little extra space. Now, I've seen some people post, Hayden Winks, good dude, but he wasn't happy with Chase Brown on this run here. This is a power run, and you're pulling your tight end around and your guard around, objectively trying to get to these spots here to make blocks. The idea is for Chase Brown to follow them and get out there. Back my squiggly line. Stop giving me straight lines. So when you see this right there, and people go, whoa, why did he cut out? Why did he cut out here? Couldn't he have just hit this and gone all the way? Yeah, maybe. But the run is designed to go that way. And I think at this point, he doesn't see any reason why it wouldn't work until we don't get a block from the receiver position. Again, this is Irwin on the slot. And no one picks up that slot corner. So there's 2 defenders to the outside, 2 receivers to the outside. One of those guys should have picked up the DB and got there. Didn't happen, and it gets blown up. So yeah, why you could say in hindsight that should have just ran up the middle. I don't think his first read was to go up the middle at all. So we end up in a 3rd and 12 situation, or 3rd and 12, and we get Chase Brown false start, and now it's 3rd and 17, and the Bucs have everyone drop back here, right? We got 4 guys. It looks like a quarters type of coverage. And the Bengals are going to run a inside stem with T. Higgins and then run an out route at the marker, at the sticks to see if he can make a play here and see if you can get one-on-one. But the thing the Bucs do, too, that was really awesome about it is first they had this guy on Gesicki, and then they just screamed this nickel corner underneath Higgins. Really makes this a tougher throw. Let me actually go back, and you can watch this, what I'm saying. Watch the nickel corner, or he's a safety. I'm not even sure who it is. This guy right here. Yeah, he's nickel corner. Watch him scream away, right away. Get under. And he gets called for pass interference. But I do like what they're calling there with that. Because, of course, you would try a deep out route. So now I want you to watch Orlando Brown Jr. I said he had a good day here today in this game. But you're going to end up with a kind of a stunt, and he's going to end up in a situation with this defender where he's now, you see that? Where he was ending up in a situation where he could end up being called for hold, right? Right here. We talked about this. If a guy does a rip move and you end up like that, they're not going to call it. But there was no rip move here. He just ended up that way because the guy's trying to split them. So Brown goes, okay, quickly, I need to make a decision because this guy has the path to the quarterback and could hit my guy. So what do I have to do is yank this arm out, his right arm. He's going to yank away and get it out of there. And he's going to turn his left arm in and kind of slingshot this guy and throw him down. So watch it. And he gets in front too. So now there's he throw the guy, gets his arm out, throws the guy down. He flips his hips to get in between this D lineman and Joe Burrow. Watch him get in between. So when the guy stands up, he stands up right into his stomach. Orlando Brown had a good day. That's a veteran move there to not get called. Yeah, I like it. I like it and I dig it. And we get the call here. So now 1st and goal from the 9-yard line. We're going to try and run with Chase Brown. And again, we're not getting much on this one. We've had a couple of nice runs. We had a 3rd and short. We've had a 5 and a 6-yard run. We have motion at the snap. We had a couple combo blocks on the inside. And he's going to be reading this middle linebacker basically. And he's going to see this middle linebacker is free. And he's going to say, okay, I got to bounce out. And the issue with that is Gesicki and Yoshi can't hold up their blocks. And the edge guys on the defense crash down really hard on them. So watch, I'm gonna pause it here. Watch Gesicki get blown back. Watch Yoshi not be able to wall off and keep the defender from getting inside. So keep your eyes on that side. Gesicki get blown back. Again, Yoshi can't get this guy. So we need better blocking on the edge. T had a moment where he said, my fault to the sideline. We had a moment where Irwin didn't get his block, and now we just had Yoshi and Gesicki, who Gesicki, again, is just a big wide receiver, couldn't handle their edge responsibilities. And next play is a touchdown. Quit messing around. Give it to Burrow and Higgins, which Higgins started in the slot here. He's going to come in motion, and they're going to run an out route with him. Now, the motion is key here. Not only number one, did he start in the slot, but the next play or the next thing is when he goes in motion, it's going to force the DB for the Bucs to play off coverage. So you'll see it right here. They're going to, as they snap it, the DB for the Bucs, he's off. He's off. He's off, right? Looks like we've got almost like they're trying to say man across and they're going to blitz because then we got this right here. Great. If that's what you want to do against Joe Burrow, feel free. Come on, everyone blitz. But the idea that the off coverage here is what I want to point out and bring up. When you get motion and you're going to snap it quickly, a lot of times you're going to get off coverage because the DB doesn't want to come up. He can't come up and press. He's got to come around and go through all that traffic. So if he starts over here and he's got to come across, he's just going to play off after that. And we got an out route. So watch the DB at the out route. When you get in the situation and he's running out to here, the DB is going to try and cut that off as best as he can. He's got no help over there. He's got to get out there and he's got to make a play on this ball and tackle T. Higgins. Burrow sees this. And what Burrow's going to do is he's going to lean it inside and keep the ball inside. And this is what people don't understand about ball placement and about why Burrow is so good with his accuracy. He's going to put this ball in a place that turns Higgins automatically and turns him inside. Bang. Like I said, that DB was screaming over the top because he had to get to the outside. He had to get there, or else Higgins just catches it on the sideline and goes up. So you're in a lose-lose situation, and you know this DB is going to go to the outside. Burrow lays it inside, allows Higgins to catch it, allows him to turn upfield, and scores a touchdown and one-on-one coverage. Nice, long, successful drive. Yeah, they got bailed out by a penalty, but still, we got to see a deep ball. We got to see some successful running. We got good pass protection, and we got Burrow looking like Burrow and Higgins looking like T. Higgins. This is a successful preseason drive, and this is what you're looking for. Hats off to the Bengals. Mission accomplished. So while that opening drive was everything we were looking for, we got flashes of different players making plays. We got Joe Burrow looking healthy and throwing some deep passes. We got T. Higgins looking like T. The offensive line looked really good, and I'm going to start and end with there because the big thing we're looking for on the offensive line is how does Amarius Mims look after he has been one of the highlights of camp so far this summer, and the big, massive young right tackle stood up and did his job in his first appearance in a Bengals uniform. But we've got bad news. He strained his pectoral after the game, had some imaging done, and he will be out several weeks, according to Zach Taylor. So this is a guy we talked about with durability and availability questions as a prospect. That's rearing its ugly head. Could just be a random thing, and he's never injured ever again, right? But this is football. People do get hurt. I think he played really well. That's the bummer about it, number one. And number two, the bummer is this was a guy we also talked about needing as many reps as possible through camp in the preseason. So far, the plan has been perfect. I mean, Trent Brown has been unavailable. I figured they were going to save him until it was absolutely necessary. He's active and starting with the ones today as I record this. And Amarius Mims is on the sidelines watching, and he'll be out for a few weeks. And Taylor said he wouldn't rule out the potential for Amarius Mims to start week 1 or play week 1. So that stinks. Stinks we're not going to see any more preseason from him because I really enjoyed evaluating him. Wanted to see what it looked like from a game-to-game basis, something we never got to see at Georgia. But I did cut up every single clip of Amarius Mims and every single snap. And let's watch that. And I'm not going to slow it down too much. It's already been looked over 500,000 times on Twitter and other social media apps. And I'm sure you've probably seen it by now. But if you haven't, now I'm going to give my thoughts as that plays. First thing you're going to see is obviously the massive size and the easy athleticism out of Amarius Mims. I think his kick slide looked really good, really smooth. I thought his patience in his hands looked really good. I thought he looked well balanced and powerful. I think there were some run blocks where I thought he could have gotten more drive, could have played with more leverage, got a little lower. That may be something we always talk about with a guy that's 6'8". I've got a super tall son that I coach on the offensive line, and I'm always telling him, get lower, get lower, get lower. They can't get lower, right? They're trying to. When you're 6'8", it's tough to get that low. And you're going to see that with Mims, and it's going to sap some of his power. I thought also he and Alex Kappa could have been better together. They haven't had a lot of reps together. They haven't had a lot of time together. They're not, we're talking about a rookie and a guy that is a veteran. And so it should get together pretty quickly. But I think Trent Brown and Alex Kappa would probably mesh very quickly because they've both played so long. So some of these run blocks and combo blocks could probably have been a little bit more efficient, could have been communicated and passed off a little bit cleaner, and would have helped the other guy get to the second level a little bit more often. I think his last 2 blocks that you'll see coming up were his best, where you can see him actually in true pass sets, and you can see him use his hands, redirect, knock a hand away from a long arm, and then get his hands back underneath. So I thought Mims looked, from a valuation perspective, looked really, really good. PFF only gave him like a 65 or 69. I think it was 69 in pass pro. And a 24 in true pass sets, because the one time the guy got around him after the ball was already released, they said, well, he would have, if Burrow would have held the ball. That's how they evaluate. So remember, you got to take these grades with a grain of salt. Number one, because he only played a handful of snaps. He only played the one drive and then 3 snaps after that. He wasn't challenged too many times. There's maybe only like 4 snaps here that you would have actually evaluated and said this is worth something. So while he didn't look, on one hand, didn't look amazing, I think he looked steady and good from a base and a floor perspective, which I think is all we can ask for. Number 2, he didn't screw up royally and didn't mess up. I mean, we'll go put on Jackson Carman, who was a second round pick, drafted 20 spots later, close to that. Completely different, and in year 4. So completely different type of player. Mims looked like he fit, looks like he has a high floor. And I think at that point, that's all we can really ask for. So it's a shame we won't see him and see how he develops and maybe get a better glimpse of his upside. I think this game showed his floor, which I think we'll all accept if this is his floor. You've got a big, strong door at right tackle, and not a swinging door, a locked door. I mean, a front main door with a security system on it. He was tough to get through. Talking about rookie offensive linemen, though, real quick, I did post a whole clip of every snap from Matt Lee, the center out of Miami, and I thought he looked really damn good too. So while we got Jackson Carman that's not doing anything, and if anything, he's got money on the opposite team the way he played. You got Trey Hill that can't develop for the life of him, and then Deontay Smith can't get on the field, still injured always. Amarius Mims passed the first eye test. Matt Lee passes it as well, his first chance. And now today in practice, he's getting reps with the second team while Trey Hill is at guard. So, hey, Bengals, they are seeing what we're seeing. And if you're looking for that cut up, it's at Joe Goodberry on Twitter, on X. Go ahead and find that. It's been posted and shared elsewhere too, so you may see it on other social media websites. But it's good. You'll see the processing, the athleticism, the ability to pick up stunts, and you'll see him get a couple nice run blocks as well. Although the Bengals were down and didn't run block it enough. So at the very least, we'll be able to evaluate Matt Lee for the rest of preseason, which is why I didn't include his clips here on today's episode, because I think we're going to go back and watch. Once Mims got hurt, I was like, okay, we're definitely watching Mims we'll have time to go back on Matt Lee on future episodes of Bengals on the Brain, presented by First Star Logistics. We are back. And until then, until next time, Hooday.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.